That's why dude is carrying the rifle is like an al-Assad because most of the people in the Middle East actually get their guns from the tribal areas of Pakistan. And that's just kind of how that stuff came about. Ejection port, but it's literally like a tilting bolt action. But yeah, I'm actually gonna, one second, I'm gonna go and uh, look at this rifle real quick. Yeah, you can see right there is a little tiny backwards facing hook. Oh, should I flip to a different gun? Alright, this one right here, the backwards facing hook, that picks up on the back end of the bolt and lifts it up because there's like a little step inside of there that once the bolt falls down behind that step, the bolt can't go backwards. Which is what a bolt is intended to do, is just basically make it to where the bullet's pressure cannot shove the bolt backwards until an operating system of some kind has lifted the bolt or turned the bolt to pull it back. With traditional bolt action rifles, the bolt is actually, it's gonna hard to explain, but the bolt is actually just, well, with the bolt action rifle, you basically just make it manual. You don't actually have a carrier to lock and unlock it. There's the bolt, there's the bolt carrier. The carrier is the piece which goes forwards, locks, unlocks the bolt, and is acted upon by the recoil spring. Now, if you see right there underneath the front sight, it's right there. The carrier is that hook on the top. That's the part that picks up the back end of the bolt. It grabs, lifts it up so it can move back. It's pretty neat. It's actually similar to a 870 shotgun. Actually, you know what? Yeah, it's similar to one of these in the way the bolt actually lifts up and down. Because with these, when the bolt locks, it is actually tilted to the side, I believe, and actually pokes out the side of the receiver just a little bit. Then when you pull it back, it goes back in. If you actually look, it's rounded on the back end because it's supposed to go in and out. For those of you that do not know that. Now this right here is the Benelli M4 shotgun. It's also referred to as the M1014, as it is sometimes referred to, but it's basically just a Benelli. If you look right there where the charging handle is, that is the bolt carrier. The bolt is actually inside of that, and it rotates. It's got locking lugs on it that actually go into the barrel and turn sideways, almost like some of the older safes. Have you ever seen those? How they have those pins that stick out? It's kind of like that, but instead the pins are already sticking out. It just turns a little bit to the side to hold it in. It's really weird. The Desert Eagle actually has the same locking lugs, interestingly enough. I wish it was a firing range on this. Is there a firing range or a testing range? Pretty sure there is. Wait, I haven't been to the depot in forever. Let's see what I have. I have 10 coins that I can use at my discretion. Wait, is there a fire? I thought there was a firing range on here. I just don't remember. Uh, options. Control sound. Da, da, da. Wait, is it in here? Yeah, there it is. It's the options button. There we go. Holy crap, I'm too slow. I just woke up a couple minutes ago, so I'm gonna be pretty slow. Yeah, 59. It almost took me a minute to hit all of those. I don't ever remember having such a horrible time. Hey, buddy, what's up? Is this the only one I'm allowed to use? That's no fun. What if I want to use this one? Or this one? Alright, wait, that's not one. $45, that's better than the last one. Let's see here. Let's try some Russian rock and roll. Yeah. I don't remember this as being part of the thing. $42. Look, it's bad guy targets. And that's the picture from the end of the campaign mode, by the way, guys, if you didn't know. Now, there's a way to glitch up on there. I've done it before, I just can't remember. There we go. here? By the way, for those of you that do not know, this is actually a milled variant of an Dragunov. Let me just pop some up real quick. Alright, for those of you that did not know, there are actually Dragunov replicas floating around. The easiest way to tell is the magazine pattern. If it has an X on the magazine, like crisscrossed on it, it's usually one of the fake knockoff Dragunovs. This one's got nice hashtags on it, so it's pretty good for that. But the receiver is milled, which if I remember correctly, there were not like any Dragunovs really ever made with the milled receivers. The way you can tell it's milled is the rectangle right there underneath the bolt. Right there you can see a little rectangular divot. It's right there next to the safety lever. And yeah. However, one detail they did get perfect is right there on the bottom. You'll see how there's a recess. That is because it comes out the bottom of the receiver. Like it literally comes out like an M14. You just pull the trigger group out the bottom and everything. Because with the AK, you can't do that because there's actually an auto sear and a whole bunch of other things. They're supposed to have contact with the bolt carrier and it'll cause problems. And the U.S. military even had problems getting around that when they designed the M14 to be automatic. But they ended up finding out a different way of going about it, making the auto sear a permanent fixture inside the receiver and making it like that. But the way the AK's receiver connects with the hammer and automatic, it would be nearly impossible to hinge open. But yeah. So, one of the things about this rifle right here in particular that is really neat is that it has the proper dust cover. Alright, if you see that piece of metal that goes over the top of it, if you look right where the charging handle is, it actually goes down and goes skinny at the end, which is for a proper Dragunov. Improper Dragunovs will not have that, and some Dragunov replicas will actually have a two-piece handguard instead of a one-piece like this one does. And if you look at the gas system on the very end of it, it's actually got an adjustable piece on the end. That's for clean and dirty. In case you get your rifle dirty, you need to adjust the gas system so it can function that way. Because if you get carbon to build up inside the rifle, it'll make it dirty and the bolt will actually start to slow down a little bit. Because if the bolt slows down, that causes problems. Because if it slows down, it can jam. Because if it's too slow, it might not go back all the way, or it might not go forward all the way. A couple of things can go wrong. If the bolt carrier doesn't go back all the way, it's called short stroking, which is actually a problem with some rifles. There is also some rifles can have a problem where if the bolt carrier comes back too fast, it can actually close and the bullets will not be able to go up out of the magazine fast enough. And that is actually a problem when you try to suppress AKs. Causes a problem because the suppressor will actually cause the gas to build up and be stronger than normal. And you actually need to get a special type of gas block for suppressing AKs, or get just subsonic bullets that don't have as much pressure in them. Now there are special suppressors that are being designed to mitigate the back pressure on gases and whatnot. Alright. Well, there's no firing pin in this bolt carrier. There also doesn't seem to be a bolt in this bolt carrier because it should poke out the back, just like when you get a AK with the worn camo. Actually, you know what? What does battle worn look like on this? There's no dust cover removed. That's no fun. Although with the AK, they actually did do some really freaking amazing details with that thing. Actually, no, where's my AK? Yeah. On battle worn, they did some freaking amazing details on here. Is that it? No, no, there you go. Yeah, look at, they got all the pieces and everything to line up and everything. I mean, that kit is actually worth getting if you get it with freaking, what's it called? Nothing. I was thinking of something completely different. My bad. By the way, this recoil spring is actually kind of made wrong. You're supposed to have a metal rod inside of it, not two skinny little metal rods. And the way that works is that the metal rods actually go inside the bolt carrier and the gas piston. Because the one thing that people have problems with when it comes to springs is that the spring will always want to do like loop-de-loops instead of just bending and going straight back. It always wants to turn and twist. So that's why people need like guide rods and stuff for springs. Because springs are a pain in the ass. But yeah, this one has a firing pin. You can actually see the back of the bolt carrier and everything sticking out. Actually did a really nice job with this one. Rat-a-tat-tat. That was one of the things I did like about Battlefield Hardline, was that you could actually do this. Like, you go into the animations and look at the guns, flip them around, do everything. The only difference is on this one you can't zoom in on it, which is annoying. I wish I could zoom in. Actually, I'm gonna go to the collection for this. I actually have a lot of the stuff for this collection already. Wow. I actually have enough for this and this. If I remember right, I was saving up for one of the legendary weapons or something. Oh, what the heck? This looks like a modernized L80 something A2, L85 A2 or something like that. It's a British rifle. It's like 100% what this looks like. And it should make a Bullpup Scar H, one or the other. Oh, yeah, this sexy thing right here, FAL. This is one of those rifles that I actually want in real life. I want a variant of one of these because this is supposed to be one of like the best rifles in its caliber. It's supposed to be like one of the best 308s you can find. And this is supposed to be one of the best 223s ever made. Here's the best 7.62 ever made. By the way, these two rifles are actually the original users of their own cartridges. This was really the first rifle that ever used the 5.56. This one was the first one to use 7.62 by 39, just to specify. The 7.62 projectile has been around for a while, but this was the first rifle to use it in a 39 long cartridge, 39 millimeters long. That's what 7.62 by 39 means. It has to do with the projectile and the length of the case. But weirdly enough, people started making bottlenecked casings, so it didn't really matter. Like, length and projectile kind of went out the window because casing could be like twice the diameter at the back end and then skinny at the front end, and it just kind of like ruined the whole thing. But it's whatever. Ooh, this is an M4. Similar to this guy in a way, except this guy is actually supposed to have a short barrel. If you look at the end of the barrel where it goes skinny and then goes wide, that is because right there where the skinny piece is actually where the muzzle brake is supposed to be. The regular M4s and the military M4s are made on the same production line. So the barrels will have that notch, and if it's supposed to be a military barrel, that's where the barrel will be cut at, and it will be threaded for the muzzle device. And if it's a civilian version, they leave the extra couple inches on, because civilians are not allowed to have barrels under a certain length on a rifle in the United States unless it has what's it called? If you can get the right paperwork, you can get it. But it's not paperwork for you, it's paperwork for the gun. It's basically like you get a special approval stamp for that one particular gun. Now, the truth about like automatics and stuff in the US is that they were allowed a long time ago, but in 1986 they actually made it to where you cannot legally own any newly manufactured. I am very detailedly specifying newly manufactured because they do not care about any automatics made before 1986 as long as it was on the registry and everything. One of the things that I like about this game, they managed to realize that the magazines, these clear magazines like this, have a follower. Because when you're shooting a gun in like other games where they have transparent magazines, you will not see a follower at all. Actually, you know what? Do I still have a G somewhere? I do not, but I have an extra AK I don't need. I'm gonna go to the firing range real quick with this. And I'm gonna see if that transparent magazine. Wrong button, damn it. Oh, wait a minute, I can just. Oh, cool, it does. I shot bullets and now you can see the spring. That is cool. That is just cool. It actually continues to go as you shoot. But I think it's taking them off the bottom of the magazine, not the top, though, is the weird part. Cause like, if you look,